Hey, hey, hey!
Hey everyone!
Welcome to Gamel's, what is it, weekly?
Yeah, weekly
Daily?
Facebook Live.
Weekly Facebook Live.
Yep.
Here at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes.
My name is Corey, and this is Diana. We are here at Linda's Electric Quilters.
Yes.
We are the Gamel dealer here for Texas and Oklahoma.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw in the title, but today we're going to be doing a little bit of freehand fun.
Yes, we are.
I don't know
Or
if you've
you
been,
are.
or I am. Okay, well, let's be real. I don't know if you've been following us, but on our YouTube channel every Thursday night we do a freehand quilting episode.
Yeah.
Where we teach all of you how to do some freehand techniques, and so we're going to kind of bring that to the platform here as well to
Correct.
show you some fun stuff.
Yeah.
I will be quilting on a Statler today. But I will be dropping the belts and
Yes.
doing it freehand. So this will
Yes.
work if you don't have a computerized machine,
Correct.
or if you do. So you can kind of
Exactly.
see how all that works out.
Yeah, so stay tuned. If you have a freehand machine, he's going to show you exactly how to do the same technique. So,
For sure.
All right.
So I think before, let me see, I'm trying to think, there's one more thing. Oh, always, before we get started, make sure that you give Gamel's Facebook page a big thumbs up.
Yep.
Like them so you can get notified and whenever they go live with any of their other dealerships or their
Yeah.
educators,
Yeah.
or whenever they post new exciting stuff on their feed.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to move over to Creative Studio.
Yes.
That is the software that runs the Statler.
Yep. Correct.
And I'm going to move in there, and I want to show you that there's different freehand stitching modes. I don't know if you knew this.
Yes, I did.
Do you know this? Oh,
I
she
did.
She knew it. Yeah, I'm proud. So there's 3 different freehand stitching modes in
Yeah.
regulated.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to show you those, how they mean, and then we'll look at dropping the belts and all sorts of fun stuff like
Yeah,
that.
let's get started. I'm
Okay, let's
excited.
do it. Maybe? Is it not working? Okay, we'll go over here. There we go. Okay, so I am over here at Creative Studio. I'm using Creative Studio 7.2. And in here, you can see we have our hand-guided icon. And right next to hand-guided, we've got this little caret that has a little bit of a drop down. And I've got regulated, constant, and based. Now, we're going to be working in regulated mode today, and like I had mentioned earlier, there are 3 different stitching modes in regulated. So I want to add regulated sewing to my tool strip so I can look at all 3 of those modes. So I'm going to come over here in some of this empty area of my tool strip, right-click, and you'll see that I have Customize Tool Strip. So I can click on Customize Tool Strip, and right here in the middle, I have my available buttons. And I can go through and see what's available, and you'll see regulated sewing right there. So I can left click and hold and just drag this over. I'm just going to drop it wherever I'd like. I'll put it right there in front of Start Quilting. And I'm going to say use this layout. Okay. And now you'll see regulated sewing has been added to my tool strip, and there's also another little caret right next to regulated sewing. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see that there is original, plus, and smooth. I'll be working in plus today. That's one of my favorites, regulated stitching modes. But there are 3 different ones, and the best thing that I can recommend is for you to try all 3 of them out and see which one works better for you. The reason plus is kind of one of my favorites is because when I slow down, the needle still moves a little bit, so it helps me to find those really nice sharp points that I like. If I'm trying to do micro stippling, it helps out really well. I'm not trying to fight the regulator, so that's the one that I like. But try them all and see which one works best for you. So with that being said, with a computerized machine, you have belts attached to your machine to move them. If you're only going to be doing a little bit of freehand, not a whole lot, just a tiny little bit of freehand, there is an option in your Statler for Power Assist, and I found that under the Stitch tab for Power Assist. And what that's going to do when I click on that to turn it on is it is going to basically have the motors and your belts help you move the machine a little bit. Just kind of makes it a little easier to move, okay? But if you plan on doing a lot more freehand, I would recommend taking off the belts because you'll get a true feel of the machine when you take off those belts. So what I'm going to do is come over here and show you on my Statler. I've got 2 belts on this machine, and with that I can take off them, and they're really, really simple. I talk to people all the time that are afraid to take off their belts. I don't want you to ever be afraid to take them off. So this first one's right under here, right underneath your cross track, and there's a thumb screw that you just loosen, and the little piece falls right out. And I like to move this all the way over to the side. That way I don't hit that when I'm quilting. You've got another one right here. Turn that. And I like to move this one all the way back. That way I don't hit it when I'm quilting. Now some machines also have a belt on the backhand side, and you'll do the exact same thing that you did right here on this one underneath. You will just loosen it and just move it off to the side. Whenever you're ready to re-engage the belts again, you'll bring your pieces back, put them in their designated slots, and then tighten the thumb screw down so it keeps it nice and steady for you. Okay? So let's take a look at what I'm going to be stitching today. I have this block that I just threw on the quilt real quick. I did a little bit of reverse applique with the machine to put this flower on here and just quilted this out. But I wanted to show you, even if you have a computerized machine or a freehand machine, they're both amazing, that you could drop the belts or just kind of take a little bit of a different approach or a different look at the way that you'd be quilting this if you can't find that exact computerized pattern that you're wanting, or if you're just having a mental block when you're doing your freehand quilting. So what I did was I took my phone, took a picture of this block, and I printed that picture and put it in a sheet protector. That way I can go to my drawing table or sit down at the couch and design what I want this to look like, drawing, gaining that muscle memory, and then I can bring that back to my machine and just start stitching it out and having a great time. So what I'm going to do is I'll go up to my drawing table real quick and I will take a look at what I am doing. So give me just a second. Let me get up there to where I want to be, and let's take a fun look at this piece right here. So as you can see, printed it off, put it in a nice little sheet protector, just like so. And what we're going to have an end up look is I want it to end up looking like this, okay? We're going to do some fun feathers in here. We'll do just an easy ribbon candy out here just to add a little bit of a fill. And then I want to show you how to put your belts back on and do an easy crosshatch right there in the center.
I loved being able to practice like this.
Yeah.
We've been doing that a lot on our other show, but just to be able to practice your freehand before you get on there and do it.
Makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
and
it takes the stress out of it.
Yeah, you don't want to, because you don't want to get up to the quilt and just kind of have a mental block.
Yeah.
Because we're in this for money.
Yeah.
So I have got my dry erase marker, and I'm going to work with my inner piece here. And the easiest way that I can recommend to start this would kind of be, let's say we're starting right about here, so I'll put an S for start, is when you're going up these hills and then down into the valleys, but going up the hills, that's when our feathers are going to be the longest. So I'm just going to start right here and bring a feather up, kind of get close to that applique and touch it. And when I'm coming down, I want to travel back down that stem that's already been a place for us that gives your feather a nice even shape. But as you see, as we're coming down here into that valley, you want to make these a little bit smaller, still following that stem that's been established. And on the way out of the valley over the hill again, you'll start back with a big feather. Here on top, going through. We're coming down into the valley again, so making it a little bit smaller and coming back up out of the valley up to the hill. Coming down our valley, up the hill. I'll work that down the valley, up the hill. So I'm working that all the way around, just using a traditional long arm feather.
Yeah, and what's nice about this is just a dry erase, so if you mess up, you just mark it off and try it again. Practice, practice,
that
practice.
wasn't the one that I thought I wanted to do. It's like that.
Yeah.
I went down too early, so I'm just going to throw that off and then come back up, just like so. So I would work that all the way around this piece until I get back to this section right over here.
Okay, let's do the outside.
So my outside piece, this one's going to be a really simple ribbon candy. So I'll start down here. And I have these angled. So I'll start over here in this corner piece. And I'm just doing back and forth. And then I'll start to straighten that up more vertically. And then this is just going to be a really nice, simple, fast piece to fill in. And the tighter you make it, the more it's going to separate the background from the foreground of the block. As we're approaching our corner, be prepared because we're going to start angling it. So I want that to angle out like that and then come back to where it's more of a, now at this point, more horizontal. So that one's going to fill in just like so.
Cool.
Over here and all the way around.
And then you said you're going to do cross hatching in the middle of your applique?
So yeah, in the center of this applique, I want to show you when we get back over to the machine, when we get to that point, we're going to put the belts back on. For a Statler, this is really, really cool. If you have a hand-guided model, you can grab a ruler and your ruler base plate and do it. But for a Statler, we have channel locks that work from a 0 to a 90-degree angle. So I can start here, and it's going to do my channel lock that 45-degree angle, turn off the channel lock, and I'll go a hopping foot width over, turn my channel lock back on, and I can come back that same direction.
Which, yeah, you could do that with the ruler for a hand-guided machine,
Yes.
like you were saying.
Yeah, you could definitely do that with a ruler for the hand-guided models. And then coming from that same point, then I can flip my channel locks and go that opposite way. Just add in that really cool, easy crosshatch, just like that. Okay, so we'll end up with this.
All right, well, let's go show them the
Let's
goods.
see how it looks. So I'm going to head over here to my machine, and I have got my belts off, and I am working in the plus mode. And Diana, real quick, if you want to flip back to the Creative Studio screen, I've got one more thing to show them.
Okay.
So,
And plus mode can on a regular hand-guided machine could just be their stitch regulated mode. So it's just that we're working in stitch regulated, right?
yes,
Sort
plus
close
is
to
kind of
that?
like a coast regulate on a
Okay.
on a Vision
Okay.
model. So in Creative Studio, down here in my stitch regulated box, you'll have a needle positioner option that you can check on. Normally when I do hand guided, I like to see that needle position checked on, because what's going to happen is whenever I'm stitching, and you'll see when I'm doing it, it will stop with the needle in the down position. So if I need to stop and think or take a breather, that way the needle stops and it stays there and it doesn't move. The machine doesn't move, excuse me. That'll help a lot. So I'll check mark needle position, and then I'll start it with the needle down, and that'll give us a cool idea. So let's hop over to our machine.
So would you do that the same if you had a Vision? You just
Yes.
use that little needle down?
Yeah, I would still use the needle down on
Okay.
either one.
Okay.
Now I've got my block here. I like to take a chalk pencil. You know, we have our design that we drew out, but I'm going to take my chalk pencil and just kind of give myself a feel of how I want to do this, just to give myself something to work on. So coming down into that valley, just going to put this here, and then back out of the valley onto the hill.
Just to get that muscle memory before you get started, that's a good idea.
For sure. Coming up the hill. Biggest thing is just following back down that stem line. Gives the feather nice, even shape. That's the biggest thing that you want to worry about when you're starting to play with your feathers. Coming out of that. Just like that. And we'll work our way all the way around.
Alrighty.
So let's see what I can do. So with that needle position on, you see that it goes needle down, and then the needle just stops until I pull it back up. So I'm just going to take a few tie-off stitches to lock my thread down. And it's going to stay down until I start it up. So let's start it up. Coming back down that stem. Now we're coming here to a little bit of a smaller part. And we're back up again. And the biggest thing about hand guided is you don't have to rush it. Take your time. Follow down that stem. Use your chalk line that you've given yourself as a nice guide, but you don't have to stay directly on that chalk line, because what it's going to do is you'll tense up trying to follow directly on that chalk line, and then you're not going to get the actual look that you want it to do. So coming down into that valley there, had a little bit of a shortcoming there, but that's okay. Down into the valley, come up over as we go up the hill. Okay, we're headed down into our valley again, so we're going to lower those feathers. And now we're coming up out of the valley onto that hill, so we're gonna make them a little bit longer. Coming down, coming up our hill. Coming down, and then up over. Coming down into this one. And then we're headed up the hill, so we'll go back out of it.
That's looking really good.
Thank you.
I like how that glide thread really shines. Is that bone?
I believe so.
Yeah, it looks good.
So I'm going to stop this real quick, and you'll see that the needle stopped in the down position. I'm going to trim my threads, so I'm not in the way of me doing this, and then we'll start it back up to finish this off. Just like that.
Cool.
So I can pull up my threads with our tie off, trim those away, and now we get to do the fun little ribbon candy design on the outside. So I'm going to start here in the corner, pull up my threads, do a few tie-offs, leave it down in that down position. That way I can start it up. And we're starting at that 45-degree angle first to get to our side piece, keeping that nice and tight, and now we're going to make it more vertical. And you can just follow this right back and forth and just go with the flow of that inner vine that we were given. And you can do this as tight or as open as you would like. One of the benefits of free motion, we have an avid viewer on our show every week. Her name is Rita, and she calls it a design choice. It's all about how you do it. Just kind of make it work for you. You can do this all the way around. So this is with regulated. If you'd like to drop it into constant, you have that ability too. What constant speed's going to do is just going to keep that needle moving at a constant number, whatever you choose on the screen, and you become your own stitch regulator at that point. I know a lot of people have those constant machines without the stitch regulators. Still good machines. I came a little bit up on that one, that's all right.
Well, we're showing them how easy it is to do freehand.
Oh, it's so much fun.
So, I mean, you can still use your computerization, but if you want to get in there and play around and learn some freehand, you definitely have that ability, and it's super fast and easy.
Well, I think it's also good to have the blend of these skills. Having both of these skills as a computerized quilter myself, having a little bit of freehand knowledge background, sometimes it is easier and faster just to drop the belts and throw in that design that you have in your head instead of searching for that pattern, you know, all over the internet, and then we get lost in Facebook and whatnot. So just coming in and throwing in your own little personal touch to this as well. Now, another thing about this that you could have done as well is you also have a record feature on the Statlers where you can record what you freehand, and then it will replicate it on its own when you put the belts back on.
Yeah, so it's still your design, but you let it do the work for you.
Exactly, working a little smarter, not harder. So I'm gonna come right here, stop, let me trim my threads away, just to get them out of the way. Stopped with that needle down, love that needle position. Start it back up, coming up and coming down there to finish that loop.
Cool.
Tie that off.
All right, so we're going to get back over. Do you want me back on the screen to show the channel locks?
Yes, please, if you don't mind. So we're going to move back over to the Creative Studio screen, and I am going to put my belts back on real quick. Easily, just like we showed at the beginning. They just pop right back in. Slide those into our little pieces here. Now you have a channel lock section of your hand-guided box, and that's going to say chan lock, and you can put a degree in there anyway from 0 to 90. And I want to do my cross hatching on a 45 degree. So I'm going to put in 45 and press enter, okay? And then if I come back over to my machine, you get to see how that channel lock works with your belts on at that point, which is really cool. So on my machine right here, I can turn on my channel lock button, press that, and you'll see that, let me see if I can grab the machine so you can see it, but if I'm grabbing the machine, it is only moving in that direction. I am pushing it. Diana, you try. I'm pushing it. It's only moving in that one direction.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. You can't really even send it any other way.
And I'm glad you're showing this because this always confused me just a tad.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Go team.
Yeah.
So for a Statler user, you have the ability to do this. If you're a hand-guided user, pull out a ruler, your ruler base plate, do the same idea. I just wanted to show you the cool thing that these channel locks have to offer. So I'm going to turn my channel lock off. I'm going to come to a place where I want to start.
Now, are you in Power Assist now, or just to show them the feature?
I don't have Power Assist on at this
Okay.
point. I could turn it on.
I think we had somebody asking us how it worked.
Oh, yeah, I can turn
So
it on
maybe
real
we
quick.
just, yeah.
So let me hop out of hand-guided, go under my Stitch tab, turn Power Assist on, and then I can go back into regulated.
Just so they can see that it's basically the same thing. It's just a little bit more assistance.
Yeah, it just
to
helps
make
you
it
move
flow
it.
a little bit easier.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is just kind of where I'm going to keep one hand up on my channel lock button and then one on my red handle button on the right hand side so I can press and let go as I need to. So I'm going to start this up with my channel lock on first. So do a little bit of that, turn off my channel lock, follow the inner part of that circle, come back, channel lock off, follow, channel lock back on, and I'm using my hopping foot as my distance here.
That's nice to have the keypad right there so you don't have to walk back and forth. You can just keep moving and grooving.
Right, it makes a huge difference. So channel lock off, and I'm going backwards. Channel lock back on, back over, off, on, off, a little bit over, and back on. Okay, so that's going to be our first direction.
Cool.
And then I'm going to flip my channel lock to be able to go the opposite direction. So let's come back over to the screen. And you can do this from the keypad. I'm going to come over here to the screen to show you. But if you press and hold the shift key on your keypad on the machine, you have a flip chan button, so I can flip it. And now what that's done is you see that it's changed the 45 to a negative 45. So now it's going to go the opposite way to give me that effect that I want to get my cross-hatching look. So let's run over here back to the machine. And I'll turn my channel lock off so I can go up a little bit, turn it back on. And now I'm going at that negative 45. Using my hopping foot as my distance. Using my hopping foot as my distance.
And of course, if you're just doing this on a freehand machine, you would just have your ruler holding it down to do that. Quick and easy.
Good idea. So just like that, I can take that, trim those away, and I have that beautiful design. Now, if you wanted to go and fill in all these extra pieces, of course you could go in, just throw a circle in to fill in all these empty gaps. That's perfectly fine. Or if you're happy with that look, you can leave that emptiness. Perfectly okay. But being able to drop the belts, use some of your freehand skills with your Statler, you can really accentuate a block on a quilt if you're just having a, kind of just a block when trying to find that digitized pattern that you just can't seem to find. Sometimes it happens, trust me.
All right.
So,
Well, that's quick and easy.
that was quick and easy. Just to show you some different things that you have available to you to kind of bring up your design inspiration, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and you can just do about anything. That's what's so cool about it.
That's the best thing about these machines. You can do almost anything with them.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, that's it for us today.
Yes.
Really quick, really easy, but just to give you a couple of ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here at Linda's Electric Quilters.
Yes.
Be sure to like Gamble on all of their social media pages so you can get updated whenever they post new information.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.